Welcome back to another episode of Drivers for Drivers. Last time I left you, we were on part one of the Magic Valley ceremony, and today we're going to go into the behind the scenes of what this week looked like. Arnell's got a bunch of footage that he's put together, and as we're going through this and I'm telling stories, he'll throw some of that in there. We started, so when I left you guys, I was on my way to Twin Falls High School. It was their homecoming game, and they were against Jerome. If you hadn't seen that, I suggest look it up. It was a very exciting game. Some of our teammates here have kids that were playing in there, and it was a lot of fun. But the Patriot is our big flag. She was debuted at their opening ceremonies, if you will. On the field that doesn't look too big, it's 11,500 square feet. It's 400 pounds, 500 pounds. I mean, it's not small by any stretch of the imagination. Each red and white stripe is 6 foot tall, and each flag is 5 foot by 5 foot. So it's very large. If you go look in the canyon right now as it's flying, with it being brand new and the colors are so vibrant, it looks huge. But when you see the footage of it on the field, it looks like it could be bigger, right? So then after that, it takes many volunteers to make that happen, and so we appreciate everything that they've done. I touched some buttons over here. I need to put them back. There we go. After that, we go into their gym, their basketball gym, and we lay it out on the floor. And here's some more B-roll of that. It takes up the whole gym, and we could have used an even bigger space. But what we're doing here is we're checking for tears and rips, anything that may become a large problem as it's flying in the air. And then we get it ready to put into what we call the sock. And as you can see, we're folding it in half and folding it in half and folding it in half and half and half and half until it looks like an accordion, if you will. And we put it in the sock, and then we use this great big, thick Velcro strap that we seal it up with. And then after that, we put it in its carrying box. So we got that done. It was late that evening. We were probably done around 10 o'clock. 5:30 that next morning, we had Twin Falls County, Jerome County. We had a bunch of other volunteers, the finest, that know how to use ropes and rappel and all of the good stuff. Show up 5:30 at the visitor center, myself included, and we started putting up the ropes. The way that works is, and I think we've got some pictures of that too. I was down at the very bottom. We were in the sheriff's boat, one of them. Sheriff Carter even came out and was helping. It was super, super cool. But what we do is we have a big drone that we take some kite wire, and we fly up to the south side. And then we do, it comes back, gets onto another strand, and flies up to the north side. And then we've got people strapped into harnesses and stuff on both north side and south side. And then we reel back down a little steel wire, and then we hook up the big 3 wires that carry, all the weight, all the load of the flag flying. We get it streamed up to the north side, and we get it streamed up to the south side. And that's a lot of work. My hands were quite sore. My forearms were. You got to hold it. You got to try and keep it out of the water. You got to keep the rope out of the trees and everything that's down there. We had a little bit of a snag here and there. The guys on the south side were pulling us in the boat to them. The guys on the north side, it was like this great big tug of war, and we're down there just trying to wrestle it. It was a lot of fun. Even with some of the snags, we were done 4 hours earlier than we were the year prior. So that was kind of neat. And then we jetted back up to the top. And so at that point, they sit there and start taking up all the slack in the rope. We have to have some slack in the rope so it can, go up and down. When the flag's flying and it's doing this, it can move anywhere between 80 and 90 feet. So there's a lot of slack in there. So that was Saturday's fun. Sunday we took off. Monday after work, a bunch of us got together at Sunset Memorial Cemetery, and we try to incorporate a service project every year that we do this. Again, one of the last core value is unity, and so we try to bring the community together in some sort of fashion, and this year was a service project. We cleaned up headstones, removed grass, and helped out that way, and that was a great time. I got a blister. It was super labor intensive. It really wasn't. It was a great time. So then the next day, Tuesday, we all got together, a bunch of teammates from Giltner, came out. We had people from the community, and what we do is we do the flag walk, and that's in conjunction with Bands on the Bridge, their suicide awareness organization. Super, super great. As we do the flag walk, we open up their ceremony and their event. This year, we started on the north side of the bridge, and a little pull out there. We go through a little bit of a program. We have a little prayer, and then we all get together. We had a bunch of flags out front. We had the flag that we were carrying as Sarge. And Sarge's mission is to do things like that. We want to make sure that Patriot's good to go to fly in this big event. So we try not to use her as much as, as little. We try to use her as little as possible. Sarge's mission is, on the other hand, is let's get out there, let's show our patriotism, let's show our pride, that good stuff. So we had Sarge, and a lot of folks were trekking along the bridge there, and then we had a bunch of flags following that. And Arnell's got some footage of that. I appreciate him doing that. I was following in the fire truck, keeping it slow, and so people would just kind of go around. We didn't want anything to happen. It was it's all about safety, right? Especially when you're on the bridge and you're clear up there. There's a lot of folks that were a little bit nervous, especially because of a little bit of wind. So we kept it as safe as possible, which is awesome. That's what it's all about. And then Wednesday was our big day. So Tuesday, we get all of that taken care of. After the event, we help break down Bands on the Bridge, and then we set up for our event. So we're there, I don't know, I was there probably about 11 o'clock that night, and then that next morning got up because we had a bunch of other stuff that was happening. So we got set up, and a shout out to Mo Bettas and to Chick-fil-A for providing dinner for us. That was all donations. That was absolutely awesome. It was great food. We all had full bellies after a long, hard day of work and putting stuff together. So thank you very much for that. Giltner, being a platinum sponsor, they donated $30,000 to help this event, to get the flag, to make this thing possible, along with many other donors. Tuesday, we start setting everything up. As the event's going on, we take the flag out of the box, out of its. I don't know what to call that. It's a big music box like they use for like concerts and stuff like that. But we start taking her out, and we've got SORT out there, and we've got EMS and first responders that are helping put on the flag onto the rope. And we've got Angela on the bridge, and she's eyeing it. She's making sure it's centered, and she's like, okay, that's where we want it. And then they tie off from there. So then all of that's set up. Bands on the Bridge, they go ahead and they end their event. We start tearing down a little bit, and then we start putting up our booths, and we start blocking off the parking lot, because about noon that next day is when we start kicking people out of there, so we can bring in all the fun stuff, the fire trucks, the armored personnel carriers, military stuff. And so get all that taken care of. This whole event is there's so much that goes into it, but it's nice to sit back and think about everyone that's helping, the sponsors, Giltner, all of the team in Giltner, all of the community, just everybody. It just makes me just super proud that I'm part of something this great. Anyway, that next morning, I got tasked with being on the news, and it makes me nervous. So there's a couple clips there where I'm out there helping explain Magic Valley 9/11 and their mission, which was kind of neat. So I had my 30 seconds of fame, and then that was at 9:30. Then I started directing traffic. Everybody else on the committee would start showing up. They start getting the tents up. They start helping people get their tents up. They start directing the food vendors and all the other vendors, and start answering questions as people are coming in. I took the easy job this year, directing traffic. Like, you can park here, please don't park there. And as people are coming through, I answer their questions as well. And so I say I took the easy job. The truth of the matter is, I don't do Amazing Grace and bagpipes very well. I'm I'm already starting to tear up a little bit. I have my own personal stories and stuff like that, and so I try to stay away from that kind of stuff because I don't want to say I break down, but I start crying, and that's something I don't like to do in public. So I help with the traffic. Anyway, then we get ready. About 6 o'clock is when we're supposed to kick this off. We're waiting for the Blackhawks to show up. They're supposed to do a flyover. We're waiting to unfurl the flag. We're supposed to, all these things, and we're like super tight schedule, and everything's supposed to work out just the way it's supposed to happen. Well, we had weather. There was a big thunderstorm between us and Mountain Home. Blackhawks couldn't come in. One of our team members here, her husband's a pilot for the Blackhawk, and so she was calling in and saying, yeah, we're not able to go because of the storm. And we're like, well, shoot. Safety, obviously, we don't want anybody in danger. So we're like, okay. Lorraine's sitting at our booth, and she's going, oh, no, what are we going to do? Life Flight, St. Luke's Life Flight booth was right next to us and said, you know what? We'll take you. We got you covered. So I'm sitting there, I'm directing traffic, and I can tell something's going on. I've got a radio, and there's some chatter going on. And all of a sudden, I hear it in the background, boom, 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 boom. And I'm like, oh, the Blackhawks showed up. And I look over, and it's St. Luke's. And I'm like, oh, right on. They put on such a phenomenal show. They come in, they hover where I'm sitting, like the helicopter's right above me. It feels like they're right on top of me. It's like I can almost see the pupils in the pilot's eyes, and they're just banking super, super hard. It was phenomenal. So as that's going on, right before that happens, I'm getting ahead of myself. The flag's supposed to come down at 6 o'clock. There's supposed to be a cannon, a great big boom. And all of a sudden, we look up, and it starts unfurling itself. The wind has grabbed something. There's two fail-safes.
That's not planned. The wind is doing that.
On that Velcro strap, there's two zip ties that you have to pull and break. And they're not just tiny, chintzy zip ties. I mean, they're heavy duty. For whatever reason, they broke during the wind. And about 5 minutes before 6, she starts on fluttering. Yeah, she starts fluttering. And we're like, oh, no. You can see a little bit of panic in the guys that are supposed to be lighting off the cannon. So they hurry and get up there, and they try to light the cannon.
That was amazing. Another one.
And it finally goes off, and the chopper's going da-da-da-da-da-da. But all in all, 5 minutes early is not a big deal. It unfurled the way it was. The Patriot unfurled the way she was supposed to, and I think it was just perfect, right? She couldn't wait any longer. She had to show her patriotism right now. So it was great. Everybody came together. We did a phenomenal job. Thank you to everybody that helped with that. After that, we started into our program. We had sirens. And we've got footage of that, all the sirens going, and then a moment of silence to remember the almost 3,000 people who lost their lives on that day. Then right after that, we went into the Gibson sisters. They are out of Salt Lake, Utah area, and they came up and sang Echoes. And if we have any of that, they did amazing. Their harmony, it was so cool to sit there and listen to them. It was very touching. I could hear them out where I was at, and I was just like, oh man, this is super, super cool. Well, we had an invocation by Pastor Patterson, and then we had Twin Falls Honor Guard post our colors. Then the flag unfurled. We had National Anthem by Julie Lisenby. Julie, I'm sorry for butchering your last name. We had the 21 gun salute. We had taps by the Twin Falls Honor Guard, and then the Amazing Grace by on bagpipes, and that got me again. So it was a good thing I had my sunglasses on. I was out where I was at, but I could still hear it. So you couldn't see. I'm sure you could see the tears rolling down my face. We had Bickle Elementary Honor Choir sing "You're a Grand Old Flag." And they did amazing. These elementary kids just were awesome. God Bless the USA by the Gibson Sisters. America the Beautiful by Heath Clark, and then our celebration was by Heath Clark as well. During that, we also had a speaker, captain out of Utah, who went to Ground Zero. He took about 10 or 15 minutes to explain what it was like out there. To listen to him talk and be up there with the Gibson sisters was, it was humbling, because it's weird for me that kids today don't really, like, they didn't live through that. Like, to me, that was almost yesterday, right? And they read about it in history books. I guess I'm that old. But I'm sitting there and I'm listening to it, and I'm being brought back to when I was out in the fields out in Great Falls, Montana, and out there and posted. I was in the Air Force at the time, and it keeps bringing me back to there, and I'm listening to his stories and being up on Ground Zero and being in these big cavernous caves underneath all of it, and seeing all these glow sticks, and these glow sticks were to help identify things. And the other thing I brought out of there, and it's something like you can watch all these documentaries, you can see all these pictures, you can see all these books, but you can't understand the smell. You can't understand what it sounds like. And he went into that, and it made it surreal. It made it like we were almost there. As I'm standing there with the other committee members, and the tears are going down their eyes, and I'm looking out across the crowd, and I can see people, and you can just see like the humility in their eyes. You can see like the somberness. Super, super cool for him to get up there and to share that experience. You could tell that it still lives with him today. It's something like that doesn't go away, right? Something he did bring up as he was closing was that he brought those memories and stuff back home and was able to be closer with his family. He understood a better care and love for his family members and his friends. And so I wish I had that recorded so I could show that, and so we could, like, maybe you watching could bring that back to your family and friends, right? Bring that closeness. After he was done, we all went up there on stage. We clapped hands to look out and see everybody that was there and participating. It was cold. It was windy. There was a little bit of rain. It was not the best time to be outside. But I mean, there were a few thousand people that were out there, with us doing all that, and it was just fantastic. Thank you for being out there. Thank you for participating, and thank you for continuing this mission. Right. After that, Heath Clark got on there and he started jamming out. We went around and shook hands. We heard people's stories. Answered questions, did everything we could there, and then people started dissipating because the sun was going down. People were out there taking 1 million photos. If you have photos and you throw them out online, hashtag Magic Valley 9/11 or MV 9/11, hashtag Giltner, hashtag The Better Move. Put that all out there so we can see you. We'll give you some thumbs up and that kind of stuff. And so, yeah, just remember all of that. And then also, as you're coming through, the flag's going to be out there until the 20th. That evening, we'll be taking her down unless the weather's not very good, and then we'll do it the morning of the 21st. If you've not watched that, come on out and check it out. It's pretty cool. We've got people on the north side and the south side. I'll be down in the boat again with the sheriff's department, and we'll start bringing her down slowly, and then we'll start gathering her up and then putting her in her box, and then get her ready for the next show. So, yeah, be there or be square. Thanks for watching. This is